The photograph that changed everything. Crystal chandelier cast dancing shadows across the marble floor of the Ashford mansion. Grant Ashford stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows, his phone gripped so tightly in his hand that his knuckles had turned white. Outside, thunder rolled across the Seattle skyline, and rain began to pelt against the glass. Camilla Rhodes looked up from her book, sensing the shift in the air. Her husband of 4 years had been perfectly fine 10 minutes ago. Now he looked like a stranger. "Grant, what happened?" she asked, setting down her book carefully. He turned slowly, and the look in his blue eyes made her blood run cold. It was not anger. It was worse. It was the look of someone whose entire world had just crumbled. "How long?" His voice was barely above a whisper. "How long what?" Camilla stood, her heart beginning to race. "How long have you been seeing him again?" The question hit her like a physical blow. "What are you talking about?" Grant walked toward her, each step measured and deliberate. He held out his phone. On the screen was a photograph. It showed Camilla entering a hotel, and behind her, partially visible, was a man. The image was grainy, taken from a distance, but her face was unmistakable. "That hotel, that is where your ex-boyfriend Damien works as a manager. You went there yesterday while I was in New York." His jaw clenched. "Tell me I am wrong. Tell me there is some explanation." Camilla took the phone, her hands shaking. She stared at the image, her mind racing. Yesterday, she had gone to that hotel, but not for the reason he thought. "Grant, please listen to me. Damien's sister called me. She is getting married next month, and she wanted to surprise him by having me help plan it. We were friends before Damien and I ever dated. I was just meeting with her to discuss the wedding arrangements. At a hotel. In secret. Without telling me." Each sentence was a hammer blow. "It was not a secret. You were traveling, and I was going to tell you when you got home. It just slipped my mind because you came back a day early and we had that wonderful dinner and I forgot." Grant's laugh was bitter. "Forgot? You forgot to mention you were meeting with your ex-boyfriend at a hotel?" "I was not meeting him. I was meeting his sister, Rebecca. Call her. She will confirm everything." "I am sure she would. You probably planned that alibi together." The accusation stung worse than any slap could have. Camilla felt tears beginning to form. "You cannot possibly believe I would cheat on you. After everything we have been through, after everything we've built together, what I believe is what I see." He gestured at the phone. "And what I see is my wife sneaking around behind my back. I was not sneaking. I was helping a friend. A friend who happens to be your ex-boyfriend's sister. How convenient." Camilla wiped her eyes angrily. "Why are you doing this? Where is this really coming from? This is not about a photograph. This is about something else." Grant turned away, his shoulders tense. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then quietly, "My father cheated on my mother. Did you know that? For years, she ignored the signs, made excuses, trusted him. And he destroyed her. I watched her fall apart piece by piece. I am not your father, and you are not your mother. We are U.S. Grant. We are different, are we?" He spun back to face her. "Because right now, all I see is history repeating itself." "Then you are not looking hard enough." Camilla's voice rose. "I love you. I have loved you since the day we met at that charity gala when you spilled champagne on my dress. I loved you when you proposed on that ridiculous hot air balloon, even though I am terrified of heights. I loved you through every business crisis, every family drama, every moment good and bad. And you are going to throw all of that away because of one photograph taken out of context? It is not just the photograph." His voice dropped. "You have been distant lately. Coming home late? Taking phone calls in the other room?" "I am not blind, Camilla." She stared at him in disbelief. "I have been distant. I have been planning your surprise birthday party. The phone calls were with the event coordinator. The late nights were me picking up things I did not want you to see. I was trying to do something special for you, and this is how you repay me? With accusations and distrust?" Grant's expression flickered, doubt crossing his features for just a moment. But then his jaw set again, the wall going back up. "I want you to leave." The words hung in the air between them like poison. "What?" "I need space. I need time to think. I cannot look at you right now without seeing that photograph. Camila felt something breaking inside her chest. Grant, please, do not do this. We can work through this. We can talk to Rebecca together. We can clear this up right now. I do not want to clear anything up right now. His voice was ice. I want you out of this house. This is my home too, and I am asking you to leave it. Just for tonight. Just until I can think straight. If I walk out that door, I am not coming back. He met her eyes then, and she saw the pain beneath the anger, but pride and fear were stronger. Then do not let the door hit you on the way out. The slap across his face surprised them both. Camila had never hit anyone in her life. Her hands stung, and a red mark was already forming on his cheek. Do not you dare speak to me like that, she said, her voice shaking with rage and heartbreak. I have stood by you through everything. I gave up my career to support yours. I moved across the country away from my family because you needed to be in Seattle. I have been nothing but faithful and devoted and loving. And this is how you treat me. She grabbed her purse from the hall table and her jacket from the closet. The rain was coming down in sheets now, but she did not care. Gamla, wait! There was uncertainty in his voice now, but it was too late. No, you wanted me gone. I am gone. She walked to the door, then paused with her hand on the handle. Without turning around, she said, I am pregnant, Grant. For weeks. I found out this morning. I was going to tell you tonight over dinner. She heard his sharp intake of breath, but she did not wait for his response. She pulled open the door and walked out into the storm. The rain soaked through her clothes in seconds. She had no umbrella, no plan, nowhere to go. Her car keys were somewhere inside, but she would rather walk through fire than go back in there. Behind her, she heard the door open. Camila, wait, please. She kept walking, her heels clicking on the wet pavement. Camila, you are pregnant. You cannot just leave like this. She spun around, rain streaming down her face, mixing with her tears. Watch me. At least let me call you a car. I do not want anything from you. Not now, not ever. She turned and kept walking, disappearing into the rain and darkness. Behind her, Grant Ashford stood in the doorway of his empty mansion, watching the only woman he had ever loved walk out of his life. He stood there until he could no longer see her silhouette in the storm. Then he looked down at his phone at that damning photograph, and for the first time, he zoomed in closely. In the reflection of the hotel's glass door, barely visible, he could see someone else. A woman, Rebecca. His hands began to shake as the truth crashed over him. What had he done? A new life in the shadows, the smell of fresh bread filled the small bakery as morning light streamed through the windows. Camila wiped flour from her hands and surveyed the display case with satisfaction. Croissants, cinnamon rolls, sourdough loaves, everything perfect, everything made with her own 2 hands. 5 years had passed since that terrible night in Seattle. 5 years since she walked away from the Ashford mansion and never looked back. She had taken a bus south with nothing but her purse and the clothes on her back, eventually landing in the quiet coastal town of Harmony Bay. Oregon, the name had seemed ironic at first. Harmony, she had felt anything but harmonious. But slowly, painfully, she had rebuilt herself here. The townspeople knew her as Camila Rhodes, the kind baker who made the best apple pie in 3 counties. They did not know about the Ashford fortune she had left behind. They did not know about the husband who had thrown her away. And they definitely did not know about the little girl with bright blue eyes who looked exactly like her father. Mama, can I have a chocolate chip cookie? Ruby tugged on her apron, her dark curls bouncing. At 4 years old, she was pure sunshine, full of questions and laughter. How about you help me arrange these muffins instead? Ruby's face lit up. She loved helping in the bakery, even though her help usually meant more mess than assistance. Camila lifted her onto a stool and handed her a tray of blueberry muffins. The bell above the door chimed. Camila glanced up with her usual welcoming smile, ready to greet the morning rush. The smile died on her lips. Grant Ashford stood in her bakery doorway, looking as stunned as she felt. He had changed. His dark hair had silver at the temples now. Lines creased his forehead that had not been there before. He wore an expensive suit that looked out of place in her humble shop. and he carried himself with that same confidence that had first attracted her all those years ago. But his eyes, those blue eyes that Ruby had inherited, they were haunted. Camila. Her name came out as barely a whisper. She could not speak, could not move. 5 years of carefully constructed walls threatened to crumble in an instant. Ruby, oblivious to the tension, piped up cheerfully. "Hello, mister. Would you like a muffin? I am helping today." Grant's gaze shifted to the little girl, and Camila watched as understanding dawned on his face. The blue eyes, the timing, the age. "Ruby, sweetheart, take the muffins to the back kitchen for me," Camila said. Her voice surprisingly steady. "But Mama, I was helping. Now please." Something in her tone made Ruby obey. She carefully carried the tray through the swinging door. Leaving them alone, the silence stretched like taffy between them. "You own a bakery?" Grant finally said, as if trying to process basic reality. "What are you doing here?" Camila's hands gripped the counter to keep them from shaking. "I am looking at a property development deal. The old resort on the cliff. My architect insisted I see it in person." He took a hesitant step forward. "I had no idea you were here. I have been searching for 5 years. Then you should have searched harder." The bitterness in her voice surprised even herself. "Camila, I know I have no right to ask anything from you. But that little girl? She is mine, is she not? She is mine. You gave up any claim to her the night you threw me out." Grant flinched as if she had struck him. "I was wrong. God, I was so wrong. That photograph, it was staged. My business partner, Kenneth Barrett, he wanted to take over the company. He hired someone to follow you, to create that image. Rebecca was there, but he edited her out. I found out 2 weeks after you left." Camila laughed, but there was no humor in it. 2 weeks? And it took you 5 years to find me? You disappeared completely. No credit cards, no phone, nothing. It was like you became a ghost." His voice cracked. "I hired investigators. I contacted everyone we knew. Your family refused to tell me anything. Because I asked them not to. Because I needed to be free of you. I do not blame you." Grant ran a hand through his hair, a gesture she remembered from their marriage when he was stressed. "What I did was unforgivable. I let my father's mistakes poison what we had. I chose suspicion over trust. I destroyed the best thing in my life because I was too damaged to see. What was right in front of me, you destroyed more than that." Eyes filled with tears, she had promised herself she would never shed over him again. "You destroyed the woman who loved you with everything she had. You made me feel worthless. You questioned my integrity, my faithfulness, my love, and then you threw me out while I was carrying your child? I know. I have lived with that guilt every single day. It eats at me. I cannot sleep. I cannot focus. I built an empire in the last 5 years trying to fill the hole you left, but nothing works. Nothing matters. That is not my problem anymore." Grant took another step closer. "I am not asking you to forgive me. I am not asking you to take me back. I am just asking if I can know my daughter. If I can be part of her life, in whatever way you will allow. She does not even know you exist. Then let me change that. Please, I will take whatever you are willing to give. Weekend visits, phone calls, anything. Just do not shut me out completely." Camila wanted to scream. She wanted to throw him out of her bakery the way he had thrown her out of his mansion. But she looked at the swinging door where Ruby had disappeared. She thought about all the times her daughter had asked about her father. "Why now?" she asked quietly. "Why should I believe you have changed?" "Because I spent 2 years in therapy dealing with my trust issues and my father's legacy. Because I exposed Kenneth Barrett's fraud and sent him to prison. Because I sold the company and devoted myself to finding you. And because every single day for 5 years, I have written you a letter that I never sent because I did not know where you were." He pulled out his phone and showed her. Page after page of unsent emails. Letters typed, but never delivered. All of them starting the same way. "Dear Camila, I am sorry." She looked away, unable to bear the proof of his pain. "I need time to think about this. Of course, I am staying at the Harmony Bay Inn, room 237. Whenever you are ready. If you are ever ready, I will be there. He turned to leave, then paused. She is beautiful, Ruby. She has your smile. She has your eyes. Grant's hand trembled on the door handle. I missed everything, did I not? The pregnancy. The birth. Her first steps. Her first words. Yes, you did. He nodded, accepting the truth of it. I am sorry. For all of it. I am so deeply, terribly sorry. After he left, Camila sank onto a stool, her legs no longer able to hold her. Ruby came running back in, holding a cookie she had clearly snuck from the kitchen. Mama, why are you crying? Camila pulled her daughter into her arms, holding her tight. Sometimes grown-ups cry when they are thinking about complicated things. Was that man nice? Once upon a time, he was the nicest man I knew. Will he come back? Camila looked at her daughter's innocent face, at those blue eyes that were so much like Grant's. I do not know, baby. I honestly do not know. Collision of past and present 3 days past. Camila tried to focus on her work, on her routines, on anything but the man staying at the inn 2 miles away. But Grant was everywhere. She saw him jogging past the bakery in the morning. She saw him at the farmer's market buying vegetables. She saw him sitting on the beach, just staring at the ocean. He never approached her again, never pushed. But his presence was like a weight on her chest. On the 4th day, she closed the bakery early and drove to the inn. She found him sitting on his room's balcony, overlooking the sea. I looked into your story, she said without preamble. I called Rebecca. I researched Kenneth Barrett. Everything you said was true. Grant stood up quickly. Camila, I did not expect you. I also talked to a lawyer. If you want parental rights, you will have to go through the courts. It will be messy and public, and Ruby will be caught in the middle. His face fell. I would never do that to her. Or to you. I know. She took a deep breath. Which is why I am proposing something different. You can meet Ruby, but we do it slowly. And if at any point I feel like this is hurting her, it stops. Understood? Yes. Absolutely. Whatever you say. Tomorrow, come to the bakery at closing time. I will introduce you as an old friend. Thank you. His voice was thick with emotion. Thank you for giving me a chance I do not deserve. Camila turned to leave, but his voice stopped her. I never stopped loving you. I want you to know that. Even when I thought you had betrayed me, even in my anger and pain, I never stopped. And I know that does not matter anymore, but I needed you to hear it. She looked back at him, this man who had been her everything once. Love was never our problem, Grant. Trust was, and I do not know if that can ever be rebuilt. Then let me try. Even if it takes another 5 years. Even if it takes forever. The next evening, Ruby sat on a stool in the bakery, swinging her legs and eating a cupcake, when Grant arrived. He carried a small wrapped box, and his hands were shaking.
Ruby.
This is Grant. He is an old friend of Mama's, Camila said gently. Ruby studied him with the serious expression she got when evaluating new people. Do you like cupcakes? Grant smiled, and Camila's heart twisted at seeing that smile directed at their daughter. I love cupcakes. What is your favorite kind? Chocolate with vanilla frosting. That is my favorite too. Ruby's face lit up. Mama, can Grant have a cupcake? Of course. As Camila fetched the cupcake, she watched Grant kneel down to Ruby's eye level. He was so careful, so gentle. Nothing like the angry man who had sent her away. I brought you something, he said, holding out the box. Your mama said it was okay. Ruby tore into the wrapping with childish enthusiasm. Inside was a stuffed dolphin, soft and perfectly sized for hugging. I love dolphins, Ruby breathed.
Oh.
Your mama told me that? She said you see them from the beach sometimes. Ruby looked at Camila with wide eyes. You told him about me? Grant and I knew each other a long time ago. Before you were born, were you friends? Camila and Grant's eyes met over their daughter's head. Yes, Camila said softly. We were very good friends. Grant stayed for an hour, listening to Ruby chatter about her preschool. Her favorite books, her pet hermit crab named Shelley. He was attentive and patient, asking questions and laughing at her jokes. Camila watched from behind the counter, her emotions warring inside her. This was the man she had fallen in love with. Kind, engaged, present, but she could not forget the man who had broken her heart. When it was time to leave, Ruby hugged the dolphin tight. "Will you come back?" Grant looked at Camila, asking permission with his eyes. She nodded. "If your mama says it is okay, I would love to come back." "Yay." Ruby jumped down from her stool. "Can he come to my birthday party next week, Mama?" "Please?" Camila's breath caught. Ruby's birthday. The day that reminded her of giving birth alone in a county hospital, with only a kind nurse holding her hand. The day Grant should have been there for, but was not. "You will see, sweetheart." After Ruby went to wash her hands, Grant stood close to Camila. "I do not have to come to the party. I do not want to intrude. You are her father. You should be there." The words hurt to say, but they were true. When is her birthday? "Next Friday. She turns 5. Grant's expression crumbled. 5 years. "I have missed 5 years." "Yes, you have. And you cannot get them back. None of us can." He reached out as if to touch her hand, then stopped himself. "I know I have no right to ask, but are you happy? Here in this town, with your bakery, is this the life you wanted?" Camila considered the question honestly. "It is a good life. Quiet, safe. Ruby has friends, and I have built something with my own hands. But is it what I wanted?" She looked directly at him. "No. What I wanted was to raise our daughter with you. What I wanted was the life we planned together. But that option died 5 years ago in Seattle. What if it did not have to stay dead? Grant, do not. I am not asking you to marry me again. I am not asking you to forgive me or love me. I am just asking if, maybe, someday, we could find a way to be a family." For Ruby's sake, Camila repeated carefully, "We can be civil co-parents. That is all I can promise right now." He nodded, accepting her boundary. "That is more than I hoped for." As he left the bakery, Ruby ran to the window to wave goodbye. Grant waved back, and the smile on his face was mixed with tears. Camila watched him walk away into the evening. And for the first time in 5 years, she allowed herself to wonder. What if trust could be rebuilt? What if love could be enough? But those thoughts were dangerous. She had survived by building walls, by protecting her heart. Letting Grant back in meant risking everything again. And she was not sure. She was strong enough to survive losing him twice. That night, after Ruby was asleep, Camila pulled out a box from her closet. Inside were photographs from her wedding, love letters Grant had written during their courtship, and the engagement ring she had never been able to throw away. She held the ring up to the light, watching it sparkle. Once, this ring had meant forever. Now, it was just a painful reminder of broken promises. But as she put it back in the box, her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Thank you for letting me meet her. She is perfect, just like her mother. Sleep well, Camila. Despite everything, despite all the pain and anger and years of hurt, Camila found herself smiling. Maybe, just maybe, some broken things could be repaired. Or maybe she was just a fool who was about to make the same mistake twice. Only time would tell. The birthday that changed everything. The morning of Ruby's 5th birthday party arrived with perfect blue skies and gentle ocean breezes. Camila had transformed the small backyard behind her bakery into a wonderland of pink and purple balloons. Streamers and a table overflowing with homemade treats. Ruby bounced around in her new dress. A swirl of lavender tulle that made her look like a princess. "Is Grant coming? Did you invite him, Mama?" "Yes, sweetheart. He will be here." He was. Grant arrived exactly on time, carrying a gift wrapped in shimmering paper and a bouquet of sunflowers for Camila. "You remembered they are my favorite," she said quietly. "Taking the flowers, I remember everything about you." The party filled with Ruby's preschool friends, neighbors, and the handful of close friends Camila had made in Harmony Bay. Grant stayed on the periphery at first. Uncertain of his place, But Ruby kept pulling him into games, insisting he help with her treasure hunt, demanding he lift her high so she could pop balloons. Camila watched them together, and something inside her chest loosened. This was what she had dreamed of during her pregnancy. A father and daughter laughing together, a family. When it was time for cake, Ruby insisted Grant sit next to her. As Camila brought out the three-tiered creation decorated with dolphins and seashells, everyone sang. Grant's voice was slightly off-key, but he sang louder than anyone, his eyes never leaving Ruby's glowing face. "Make a wish, baby," Camila said. Ruby closed her eyes tight, then blew out all 5 candles in one breath. Everyone cheered. "What did you wish for?" Grant asked. Ruby looked between him and Camila with the wisdom that sometimes appears in children's eyes. "I cannot tell you, or it will not come true, but I think it already is." After the party, after the last guest had left and Ruby was inside watching a movie, Camila and Grant cleaned up together. It felt strangely domestic, comfortable in a way that terrified her. "She is incredible," Grant said, folding a tablecloth. "You have done an amazing job raising her. Had help. This town has been good to us. They do not know about you, about our past. They just accepted us." "What did you tell them?" "About Ruby's father?" Camila hesitated. "The truth. That he was not in the picture. They did not pry." Grant set down the tablecloth and turned to face her fully. "I want to change that. Not just visiting every few days. I want to be in the picture, Camila." "Really in it? What does that mean?" "It means I am canceling the resort deal. I am moving to Harmony Bay. I will buy a house here, something small. I want to be present for Ruby's life. Soccer games, school plays, bedtime stories. Everything I missed." Mila's heart raced. "You cannot just uproot your entire life." "Why not?" "You did. You started over from nothing and built something beautiful. Let me do the same." "Grant, you are a billionaire developer. What will you do in a town of 3,000 people?" He smiled. "Maybe I will open a coffee shop. Your bakery does not serve coffee. We could be neighbors." "You are serious. Completely. Unless you are telling me to leave? If you genuinely do not want me here, I will go. I will visit Ruby on weekends, do the long-distance father thing. But if there is any chance, any possibility that we could rebuild something, I have to try." Before Camila could respond, Ruby came running outside. "Mama, the movie is over. Can Grant read me a bedtime story?" They both looked at her in surprise. "Honey, Grant probably needs to go," Camila started. "Please. He does the best voices." Grant raised an eyebrow at Camila. "I do excellent voices, please, Mama." Camila could not say no to that hopeful face. "Okay, one story." She watched Grant carry Ruby inside, their daughter's arms wrapped around his neck, chattering about her favorite book. When had this happened? When had Ruby bonded so completely with a man she had known only a week? But she knew the answer. Ruby bonded with him because somewhere deep in her DNA she recognized her father. Blood called to blood. Camila followed them upstairs to the small apartment above the bakery. Ruby's room was painted soft yellow with hand-stenciled flowers Camila had done herself. Grant sat on the edge of the bed. Ruby snuggled under her dolphin blanket, clutching the stuffed animal he had given her. "This one," Ruby said, handing him a worn copy of Where the Wild Things Are. Grant read with passion, doing different voices for each character. Ruby giggled at his monster voices, and Camila found herself leaning against the doorframe watching. This scene, this simple, ordinary scene, was everything she had wanted 5 years ago. When the story ended, Ruby yawned. "Grant, will you be here tomorrow? If your mama says it is okay?" "Mama always says okay. She's the nicest mama in the world." Grant looked up at Camila, his eyes asking the question. She nodded. "Oh, then yes, I will be here tomorrow." "Good." Ruby's eyes were already closing. "I love you, Grant." The words hung in the air like magic. Grant's face transformed, tears spilling down his cheeks. "I love you too, Ruby, so very much." Within moments, she was asleep. Grant sat there frozen, staring at his daughter with wonder. Camila touched his shoulder gently. We should let her sleep. They moved to the small living room. Grant wiped his eyes, not bothering to hide his tears. She said she loves me. Children love easily. They have not learned to protect their hearts yet. Is that what you are doing? Protecting your heart? Camila sat on the couch, suddenly exhausted. What do you want from me, Grant? Really? Do you want absolution? Do you want me to say everything is forgiven, and we can go back to how things were? Because we cannot. That life is gone. Grant sat beside her, careful to leave space between them. I do not want to go back. I want to move forward. And I know that means earning your trust again, piece by piece, day by day. I am prepared to spend however long it takes. What if I never trust you again? Then I will still be the best father I can be to Ruby, and I will still be grateful you gave me that chance. They sat in silence, the weight of 5 years pressing down on them. Finally, Camila spoke. Why did he do it? Jealousy, greed. He wanted the company, and he knew the fastest way to break me was through you. After you left, I fell apart. Stopped going to the office, stopped caring. He stepped in, took control of more and more. By the time I discovered what he had done, he had embezzled millions. How did you figure it out? Rebecca. She saw the original photo file on Barrett's assistant's computer. She realized he had edited her out and put the pieces together. She came to me 2 weeks after you left with the truth. His voice broke. But you were already gone. I spent the next 6 months dealing with Barrett, sending him to prison, recovering the money. And then I started looking for you. Why did it take so long? Because you are smart. You used cash. You changed your last name back to Rhodes. You did not contact anyone from our old life. It was like you vanished into thin air. He looked at her with admiration. You created a whole new existence. I had to. For Ruby, I could not raise her in the shadow of that night. I understand, and I am in awe of your strength. Camila laughed bitterly. Strength. I cried myself to sleep for months. I barely ate during the pregnancy. I had panic attacks in grocery stores thinking I saw you. That is not strength. You survived. You've built a life. You raised an incredible daughter. That is the definition of strength. She looked at him then, really looked at him. The man she had loved was still there, under the guilt and regret. But there was something new too. Humility, wisdom, pain that had been transformed into growth. If you move here, people will talk. They will want to know who you are, why you are here. Let them talk. I will tell them the truth. That I am Ruby's father, and I am trying to make up for lost time. They will judge me. They will wonder why I kept her from you, and I will make sure they know the truth. That it was my fault. That I drove you away. That you did what you had to do to survive. Camila felt tears building. You hurt me so badly, Grant. You made me question everything about myself. It took years to rebuild my self-worth. No. And I will spend the rest of my life trying to make amends. What if amends is not enough? He reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away. When she did not, he took her hand in his. Then I will accept that. But I am not giving up on us. Even if us just means being good co-parents. Even if it means we are never anything more than friends. I am not walking away again. His hand was warm, familiar. Camila had forgotten how perfectly their fingers fit together. I do not know if I can do this, she whispered. You do not have to know right now. Just do not say no. That is all I ask. He sat like that, hands intertwined, until Camila finally pulled away. It is late. You should go. Grant stood. Can I come by tomorrow? Maybe take Ruby to the beach? She would love that. At the door, he paused. Thank you, Camila. For today, for letting me be part of her birthday. It meant everything. She is your daughter. You deserve to be part of her life. And you, do I deserve to be part of yours? The question hung between them. Camila did not have an answer yet. Good night, Grant. The confrontation and resolution 2 weeks passed. Grant came by daily, taking Ruby for ice cream, teaching her to fly a kite, reading bedtime stories. He bought a small cottage 3 blocks from the bakery and started renovation work. True to his word, he was putting down roots. Camila found herself looking forward to his visits, which both excited and terrified her. Her walls were crumbling brick by careful brick. Then, on a Tuesday afternoon, a black town car pulled up outside the bakery. A man in an expensive suit climbed out. Looking around the humble street with barely concealed disdain, Camila recognized him from photos. Kenneth Barrett. He walked into the bakery with the confidence of someone used to getting his way. Camila Rhodes. Or should I say, Mrs. Ashford. What are you doing here? You were supposed to be in prison. Early release for good behavior. Turns out, when you have expensive lawyers and cooperate with federal investigations, the system is surprisingly forgiving. He smiled coldly. I heard through the grapevine that Grant found you. And his daughter. How touching. Get out of my bakery. Not until we talk business. You see, Grant destroyed my life. Cost me my career, my reputation, millions of dollars. And now he gets his happy ending? Barrett leaned against the counter. I do not think so. What do you want? Simple. I want you to break his heart the way he broke mine. Push him away. Tell him you will never forgive him. Make him suffer. And if I refuse, then I make sure everyone knows the truth about your past. The billionaire's wife who ran away pregnant. The gold digger who kept a man from his child for 5 years. How do you think your quaint little town will react to that story? Fear gripped Camila's chest, but she stood her ground. Do your worst. I am not doing anything to hurt Grant, not even to protect Ruby, because I can make things very difficult for both of you. Custody battles. Media circuses. Your daughter's face plastered across tabloids. The door opened. Grant walked in, and his face darkened when he saw Barrett. Get away from her, Barrett smirked. Just having a friendly chat with your baby mama. Grant moved between them, his body language protective. I will only say this once. Leave. Now. Or I will call the police and report you for harassment. You cannot protect her forever, Ashford. I have connections. I have resources. And I have nothing but time and motivation. Actually, you have nothing. Grant pulled out his phone, tapped a few buttons. I have been recording this entire conversation. Threats, harassment, attempted extortion. That should be enough to violate your parole. Barrett's smile faltered. You would not. Watch me. You have 60 seconds to leave town. After that, I send this to every law enforcement agency in the state. For a moment, Barrett looked like he might argue. Then his shoulders slumped. You always were a self-righteous fool. Fine. But this is not over. Yes, Grant said firmly. It is. After Barrett left, Camila collapsed against the counter. How did you know to come? I saw his car. I have been keeping tabs on his movements since his release. I was afraid he might try something. Grant pulled her into his arms. Are you okay? She should have pulled away. Should have maintained her boundaries. Instead, she let herself be held. Let herself feel safe for the first time in years. I thought I was done being afraid, she whispered. You'd never have to be afraid again. I will make sure of it. Camila looked up at him. Why are you doing all of this? The move, the cottage, dealing with Barrett. Why? Because I love you. The words came out simply, honestly. I never stopped. And even if you never love me back, even if we are never together again, I will still be here, protecting you, supporting you, being the man I should have been 5 years ago. The door burst open. Ruby ran in from her after-school program, her face bright with excitement. Mama, guess what? We learned about families today, and I drew a picture. She held up a crayon drawing. 3 figures holding hands. A woman, a man, and a small girl in the middle. Above them, she had written in crooked letters, My family. Grant and Camila looked at each other over their daughter's head. In that moment, something shifted. 5 years of hurt did not disappear, but it softened. Trust would take time. Healing would be a journey. But maybe, just maybe, they could find their way back to each other. That is a beautiful picture, baby, Camila said, her voice thick with emotion. Can we put it on the refrigerator? We can do better than that, Grant said, kneeling down. How about we frame it? Put it somewhere special. Ruby threw her arms around him. You are the best daddy ever. Over Ruby's shoulder, Grant's eyes met Camila's. She saw the question there, the hope, the love that had never died. She was not ready to say the words yet, but she smiled. A real smile, warm and genuine and full of possibility. 3 months later, on a perfect autumn day, Grant and Camila stood on the beach where he had proposed to her 7 years earlier. This time, there was no hot air balloon, no elaborate production. Just the two of them and the ocean and their daughter building sandcastles nearby. I do not want to remarry, Camila said suddenly. Grant's face fell, but he nodded. I understand.